get ready to buckle in, turn off all your other distractions, turn off your phone if you're on, unless you're on your phone, turn off your notifications, stop surfing the internet, just pay attention. I guarantee you will not be bored, okay? I guarantee it. You're in the right place. If you watch any of this summit, you're in the right place to take the next step. And I'm going to show you how to do that at the end. So please, I want to ask your permission before I tell you a little bit who I am. I want to ask your permission to tell you the truth. Hit it in the chat, say yes. Tell you the truth, and that you will be open-minded enough to accept it. Like, just let it light on you. Don't, for the next 40 minutes, 45 minutes, please let judgment, just let judgment go for a minute, okay? Again, just let judgment go. So for the folks that don't know who I am, real quick, I've been well, I think that's the next slide. Yeah. Well, anyway, I've been sugar-free for 33 years, all right? I've been sober from alcohol and drugs for 37 years. I raised a couple of sugar-free kids back when it wasn't cool, before it was exciting, before people were talking about it, before the science, okay? And I can tell you about that story. It's that experiment, I used my own children as guinea pigs, worked, okay? It's a long story, but we founded the Quit Sugar Summit a little while ago, which you all hopefully have come from. Sugar addiction about 12 years ago, and sugar detox just recently, because we have determined that we are probably the best, we have the best understanding of how people get through a detox, okay? So, you know, we essentially we kind of almost created this idea that people needed to get off sugar years and years ago. So I'm going to show you that I'm going to give you the 3 biggest takeaways from 33 years of sugar freedom and 12 years at the helm of sugar addiction and 5 years of full-time coaching. All right. So again, your permission to tell the truth for the people who are just joining, you need to hit in the chat. If you're not willing to listen to the truth, then, you know, you might want to bounce out of here, because I'm going to hit you hard and I'm going to hit you fast. All right. And this is experience, and they're going to see the people that have already done this in a minute. But look, please pay attention and get ready to take notes. All right. Now, here we go. Here's a prerequisite. I got to tell you, this is not a one and done process. All right. This is not a diet. If you logged in for a diet, please log off. You're not going to get one. All right. This is not one of those fad diets or a yo-yo diet. This is not something that I invented yesterday and wrote a book about. This is something I've been doing for most of my adult life, and helping people do this and make this transition, this change in their lives, okay? If you guys had only had the experience that I've had of people crying on the telephone, 100, 200, 300 pounds overweight, losing limbs, going blind, and they still can't quit sugar, you would understand the information that I'm about to give you is some of the most important information you're going to hear in your lifetime, guaranteed, all right? If you've ever felt like the odd person out in your friend group, okay, when you started another diet and they said, oh, mom, oh, you know, sis, whatever, you know, you tried another diet before, you've tried 10 diets, and you're not the one that, you know, you've never succeeded at them. You're still, you know, eating the sugar. This thing requires a special kind of vigilance, gang. And when I say vigilance, this is paying attention to what your behavior is around sugar, to uncoupling it, to separating it out from your eating. You're going to see this very clearly in just a few minutes. Separating it out from your eating, okay? It's not eating, okay? Write that down. It's not eating. This doesn't have anything to do with what you put in your mouth, okay? Has nothing to do with what you put in your mouth. Amazing to be on a sugar thing and some guy to say it has nothing to do with what you're putting in your mouth. This process of change takes time to feel comfortable, seriously, to come back to homeostasis, to come back to the gift, God, the universe, whatever your belief system is, gave you. It takes time to heal. Write that down. Heal. It takes time to heal. Okay. And if you're here for a quick fix, you're going to be disappointed. Again, I'm okay with you leaving now. I'm okay with you logging out and not coming back because I can't fix you quickly. No one can. All right. And I'm going to get to it that the diet industry has been lying to you for a very long time. You cannot go on a diet, change, and expect to go back to normal. It's not how it works. All right. All right. Let's dive right in. Okay. Just this. We've got a bunch of people on the line. The new people that just joined us, we have asked permission to tell you the truth and to give it to you straight between the eyes. Go, go, go. And we're going to go right now. All right. All right. Here we go. Number one, write this down. It's not about the food. All right. It is not about the food. Now, how in God's name could I possibly say something like this on a sugar detox, a sugar recovery, a sugar addiction masterclass? Okay. I can say it, like I said, from 30 years of experience and working with people one-on-one, hundreds and tens of thousands of people online. Okay. It's not about the food. Again, if you logged in for an exercise plan to, tell how many push-ups and what to eat and what your macros are and it's not it. Okay. Now, of course, gang, you've got to eat whole food, but I want to stay in my lane and bring awareness and heal sugar addiction. This is what we're here for. And if you've not really decided, gang, this is a heartfelt thing from my heart, genuinely. If you haven't decided that the possibility exists that you maybe have a sugar addiction or sugar dependency, let's put it that way, that you might use it for something other than nutrition, like it's an emotional event and not a nutritional event. If you've kind of garnered that from the summit and from your behavior and from your past behavior, then you're in the right place. We've had this work for raw food vegans and carnivores. It doesn't matter what you're eating. If you're eating whole food, okay? Whole food, real food on the outside of the grocery store. You know that 75%, almost some surveys say 85% of everything in a box, a bag, a can, the cellophane wrap, or a takeout contains sugar. There's sugar in it. You don't even have to eat ice cream and cookies. You're already getting sugar in your diet, all right? Another little bit of bad news, and that while I specialize in sugar addiction, flour for the true addict is an issue as well, okay? And for those of you that this is new information for, I want to, again, permission to speak candidly, like a soldier in the army. Permission to speak candidly, sir. That's what I'm doing, okay? And possibly caffeine, okay? Wired together, fired together. How many people know what this means, all right? Your dopamine receptors at the front of your brain, your nucleus accumbens, and in your lizard brain, deep in it's when you got chocolate, tea, coffee, cocoa, all of these things combine sugar and caffeine together. I always tell this story about my Olympic athlete. So I was working with this Olympic athlete. She placed in the Olympics, guys, got a bronze medal in swimming. By this time, she was 40-something years old, had a couple of kids, and we couldn't get her off the sugar. This is 6 or 7 years ago before I realized the connection with the caffeine. And we found out that she had been the coaches were giving her coffee at 10 years of age for performance. And no child is drinking that, right? Without sugar. So anyway, come to find out, she got off the caffeine, she got off the sugar. So important part of the puzzle, maybe. Not for everyone, but some people. Of course, you're going to eat whole food, but you already know that, all right? Now, write this down, okay? For you folks that just joined me, it's a little tick I have. I say write this down. If I say it, it's important. And when you go through your notes, you'll understand. It'll all make sense, all right? Moderation does not work for the true sugar addict, all right? Moderation does not work, all right? Now, I want to break this down for you. So who is a sugar addict, right? Who is someone who is addicted to sugar? So it breaks down pretty close to, and I want to caveat this too. This breaks down pretty close to the obesity numbers. 1/3 of the population, both here and abroad, everywhere in the world pretty much, are obese. Think about the United States population in excess of 300 million. That's 100 million people that are obese. The next third, the group above that, are harmful users. Harmful users are folks that the possibility exists, and this may be you, the possibility exists because 85% of the food products in the grocery stores and the restaurants and everything, fast food, has sugar in it. It's just dripped into your system over time. Forget about the cookies and ice cream. You're just getting sugar from eating normal diet, okay? And you have become, you've gained, and this is very common, you gained a pound a year since or 2 or 3, since college or high school, okay? That's a harmful user, all right? And you may at some point be able to go back to using sugar regularly. And the other people we all hate, no, just kidding. They're normal. They're normies. They can leave a half a brownie on the thing and never look back. Okay, it's like people that can have a half a beer. I'm not one of them, and maybe you not too. So please think about which category you might fall in: normie, harmful user, or addict. All right. We need to guide you through an initial sugar detox, sure. And we've done tens of thousands of them, literally tens of thousands. We have online forums with, over 20,000 people in them. But that is just the beginning, all right? Just the start of the process. And I want you to think here, nicotine, gang, not alcohol or heroin. It's difficult. It's annoying. You get lethargy and irritability and hunger and headaches. It's hard. You got to go through this process in the first 3 to 10 days. It's annoying. It's a little niggling addiction that, your brain and your body has just become accustomed to. But look, you've done hard things before, right? You've birthed children, you've got advanced degrees, you've worked hard, you've done overtime. You graduated, maybe the first person in your family to graduate from college or advanced degrees. This has all happened to you. You've done this. All I'm asking you to do is take a look at this issue in a deep way and give me 90 days. That's all I'm asking for. 90 days. All right. That's all I'm asking for to change. Now, I want to focus on something. And this webinar, this masterclass is part of the process that I want to debunk a little bit, okay? Information gathering creates dopamine, okay? Information gathering creates dopamine. People come to me with so much I have doctors, I have therapists, I have gym owners. People come to me with so much information packed in their brain because they've been trying to get off the sugar for so long. They've been studying it so in depth. They know the food to eat. They know the macros to eat. They know the exercises. They know the time to eat. They know the time to fast, the internet fast, the intermittent fasting. They know all of this stuff, but still they've done keto. They've done vegetarian. They've done vegan. They've done raw food. They've done carnivore, paleo. They know these systems, quote unquote, these diets inside and out, but they cannot quit sugar. A lot of them, like I said, losing limbs and going blind, they still can't quit sugar, okay? That would fall in the bottom third of true addicts, all right? I've done entire webinars on this. Now, I do want to say that after those 90 days, after you're abstinent, this becomes an amazing tool. It's so amazing to see our forums and our Zoom meetings where people, after they're off the sugar, they start comparing books and stuff. In other words, they're like, I found this guy and this lady, and they were talking about dopamine and oxytocin and norepinephrine and all this stuff. And I found this sleep ring, like an aura or something. And these people want to grow as people. They want to grow and change. But I've started with a new saying, and I really believe it with all my heart. All of this stuff plus sugar before you're abstinent equals 0 personal growth and personal development. And I don't know about you guys, but I do not want to die with my music inside me. I don't want to die with the potential that I could have had in this world without executing on that potential. And I think if you're on this webinar and taking a Thursday night of your own time to come here, you're like that too. Okay. I think we have that in common. So I want to go here for the number 2. I want you to write this down while I take a quick sip of water. Number 2 is your emotional management systems. Okay, write that down. Your emotional management systems. This is our core message. First thing we do, we detox you. We get the stuff out of your system, okay? Then we begin a second process, all right? And remember, thousands of written testimonials, working with thousands of people. This is not theory anymore. This is the real deal. It's a very common construct, gang, in the world of alcohol and drugs, that if you started using drugs and alcohol at 14 or 15, you stopped growing emotionally, okay? Your life's a mess, your relationships are a mess, your career's a mess, your jobs, everything's a mess, because here's what happened. And anybody that's been to treatment or and knows somebody about treatment, they know this, okay? That, you had a problem or whatever, and then you used that day. The problem was still there in the morning, okay? And then at 4 o'clock, you used again and again, and you never solved the problem, right? And again, if you've ever heard of been to treatment or been to a family day or whatever, this is a true thing. So I want you to extrapolate just one little bit, which is what we have done to get all these success stories. Can you imagine when you're 3 years old? Just think about it back a little bit, and everybody's story is a little bit different. But you're crying, you're upset, you're not really that verbal yet. And your mother she's busy, she's got other kids, she's got a career. She gives you a cookie and she sends you to the TV. What does this train you to do? What do you learn? What do you find out? You find out that, this drug gives you a little bit of relief for a few minutes from being angry at your mom for not bending down and hugging you. Gives you relief from missing your dad or whatever the trauma. And the trauma doesn't have to be capital T trauma, like sexual abuse or physical violence. It can be anything like this and then moving forward, you broke up with your boyfriend at 15 or 16, and you all had a big ice cream party, right? They call this stuff comfort food for a reason. It works, okay? Recovering sugar and food addicts do not talk about their food. They don't talk about their diet. They don't talk about their exercise. What they rave about, what they talk about, what they continue to grow in after they get detoxed is that they understand that they had to reconfigure, almost like learning how to walk again, gang. They had to reconfigure their emotional management system. They have to stop using sugar as an emotional event and not a nutritional event. Write that one down. It's not an emotion. Eating sugar is an emotional event. It's not a nutrition event, okay? It's not a nutrition event. You are ingesting a drug that has been proven scientifically to literally push dopamine, which is what all drugs are based on, into your system. It's like you get the entire day's dopamine push in one hit of ice cream. And then you're chasing that thing for the rest of your day, okay? When you come to me, your dopamine receptors are down-regulated. You have less of them. They are thinned out, okay? This is a proven scientific fact, all right? And this stuff is affecting your brain. It's affecting your nucleus accumbens in a way that works, okay? It stops the hurt for a little bit. I don't know if you guys know this, but the only analgesic they give to circumcise a baby is called Sweet Ease. Sweet Ease is a little nipple full of sugar, okay? They don't give them anything else, all right? It's strong enough to stop the pain for that baby, okay? And when you're eating 30, 40, 50 and more teaspoons a day, you are numb, okay? And your brain is shrinking. Like, The $78 billion diet culture knows nothing of what we're talking about. They've duped us into believing that calories in, calories out means anything. It doesn't mean anything, gang. It means absolutely nothing. All right. It's not true anymore. Sugar creates a chemical reaction, not a heat unit, which is what a calorie is. All right. It creates a chemical reaction in your body, not a unit of heat that you have to burn off. Write this one down. You can never outrun a bad diet. Never. I don't care how much exercise you do. People come to me as ultra marathoners, 20 pounds overweight. Ultra marathons, 100 miles, overweight, 20 pounds. They quit the sugar, they come back to a regular diet, okay? And I mentioned I went through the trauma, the comfort food, and sugar addiction. The trauma part, like, again, it doesn't have to be sexual or physical abuse. This is just a way that we have learned not only to handle that old stuff, but to handle everyday trauma, everyday stress, your relationship, your job, your kids, your career, your finances. All of these things are daily stressors. The pandemic, all of this stuff is very stressful. And we have literally been trained since infancy, probably in the womb, to handle this stress, these worries, these fears, these anxieties with a drug, okay? It's with sugar. And the cruelest joke the universe ever played was to make this stuff taste sweet, right? So yeah, again, we use sugar to blunt or block feelings, and it gets no power as a powerful psychoactive drug, all right? It's just not powerful enough to change to, I mean, it is powerful enough and people don't respect it as such. The science is now very, very clear, gang. This is, as I mentioned, 300, 400, 500 interviews that I've done. The science keeps getting better every year. The reason we keep doing the summits twice a year is because the science just keeps getting better. We want to see more science every year, okay? Every year we want to find the new studies. We want to find the new professors to dig into this. And it, granted, admitted that this is a little bit of a subculture right now. It's not a, a broadly known concept, all right? But the diet world is wrong. It's a proven fact that if you lose any amount of weight, in the first year, you gain it all back and then some. This is a proven fact, okay? So I want you to understand that this work that we've done over the years is so contiguous, is so married to a substance use disorder, which is the non-stigmatized name for addiction, then it's so much closer to that than it is to a diet or an exercise program, that we have to, again, as I said at the beginning, let this information light on you. Do not judge yourself, the process, addiction, the idea. Addiction is not a guy with a brown paper bag under a bridge, gang. It is not. It is an average person who used something that worked as a child to help them cope in some way, but now no longer serves you. Write that down. It no longer serves you, all right? Sugar no longer serves you. And I wanted to go into this, there's so much that I could talk to you about this, and obviously we can't do it in 45 or 50 minutes, but I wanted to talk to you about effort-based dopamine versus substance-based dopamine. And when I say dopamine, I only use dopamine because it's so quote unquote hot right now. Everybody's talking about dopamine fasts. Everybody's talking about, how the dopamine works and how it's, affects your mood and your motivation and all this kind of stuff. But it also includes, and write these down if you want, you can research it, serotonin, which is, you've heard of serotonin reuptake stuff, that's Paxil and all kind of antidepressants, oxytocin, GABA, norepinephrine, your adrenal glands and your endorphins, the things you get when you run too much or lift too much weight, pain relievers. Sugar affects all of these, okay? And more than that, they've done it in rats and of course, whatever, where, they'll eat the sugar till they die kind of thing. And I believe that because I've worked with people that are on the verge of death and they still cannot stop using sugar. Now there's a gradation, there's a cycle, or like, what's the right word? On the spectrum, a spectrum of people from harmful users and normies all the way to addicts, and people fall somewhere in the spectrum. Okay, they fall somewhere in the process, right? Not everybody's an addict. Not everybody's, guys, please don't raise your hand. It's very distracting. And we have a long time for question and answers at the end. Thank you. And so effort-based dopamine is a walk, a run, a massage, a hug, watch a sunset, cook good whole food, gather whole good food. And as I mentioned before, information gathering. But information gathering only works after you're clean, after you're off the thing. And substance-based dopamine, we can sit on the couch and watch television and eat chocolate and eat potato chips and eat this stuff, and we still get the dopamine. Think about it. I don't care if you're, spiritual, religious, or you believe in evolution, doesn't matter, because our body created those processes to chase food and sex and procreate the species. That's what dopamine and all the other beautiful brain chemicals that are running around in your brain and your body, the cannabinoid receptors, all of these things are running around in your body to help you survive, to help you live. And your limbic brain, gang, your deep lizard brain, gang, is like being like the cues of like anything that you thought of back in the day. Like if you, like I said, your boyfriend, I know that you guys can think of that song that your boyfriend and you used to listen to back when, years ago. And when it comes on the radio, you immediately think of him or her, right? Bang. It's like magic. I haven't thought about him in years, and you hear this song. Same thing in your limbic brain when you have an upset or a pain or a worry or a fear. You're cued, you're anchored to this idea that unconsciously, not even, look, gang, your brain literally goes offline when this happens. Your front of your brain that was developed last, your nucleus accumbens, your thinking brain goes offline. It's literally shrinking from scans. It's literally shrinking when you're on the sugar, okay? Because it is anchored to feel good, chase sex, eat food. It's anchored to that. Back in the day, we would chase those blueberries, those nasty little blueberries on the bushes, or those little crab apples that are about that big, and we would clean that tree off for the fructose because, we need to fatten up for the winter, that kind of thing, right? And this is anchored in our limbic, our deep neural cortex, deep limbic brain, our brain stem, and in our lower brain. And we are hostage. We're held hostage by this, by today's sugar that's in everything, right? All right, I don't want to drill you on this too much. I want to get on to this next thing because we're about the solution here. Again, write it down. Community and peer support are always the answer. Number 3 of the main takeaways that I have learned helping and getting success stories from hundreds and now even thousands of people, written success stories, all right? Community and support are always the answer, okay? Now, this feels like a little bit of fuzzy science. Mike, I thought I was getting on a webinar to tell me what to eat, what my macros are, what my fat content is, what I'm eating, what my breakfast is. Again, it's whole food, guys, and you can choose your own diet. We're not here to choose your diet. I do have some beliefs, and I'm not shy to voice them. Don't have time to do that now, what I think works the best. But that's not the answer to what has been for you guys, hopefully, well, sadly, I think, a yo-yo diet up and down for all these years. So when we work with people, when we get close to people, what we found out through surveys and working one-on-one with people is they have almost zero support inside of their own families, guys. Inside their own families, they get sometimes the opposite. Their husband, their wife, their kids, their relatives, they don't want them to change. They see them losing weight and they're thinking to themselves, man, maybe they're doing something right. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. And then their limbic brain kicks in, right? Their brain kicks in and says, I can't let her leave the tribe. 1,000 years ago, if you left the tribe, you could die. And so this need for them to keep you in the tribe, they're not doing it in a mean way. They're trying to keep you the same as them. It is a proven fact, guys, that you become the average weight of the 5 people you hang around with the most, okay? Now, this goes way back to personal development, where you become the average of the 5 people you hang around with in finances and relationships and jobs too. But now the science is very clear that this is happening with people in families, in work groups, in school groups, and that kind of thing. So you have to get a new tribe. And let me make this perfectly clear, gang. You do not have to leave the tribe that you're in. You don't have to leave your nuclear family. You don't have to leave your job. But you have to get another group. If you got a big job, or you became a big athlete, or something in your life changed from your nuclear family, where you feel a little bit different from your family, that was because you joined another group of people who were doing something that you desired to do. Okay. And now the science is very clear on this. Okay. I mean, almost all of at the end of every presentation, when a speaker speaks, they talk about the community. And we've replaced some programs out there, want to govern your spirituality, who and what you believe in. We don't do that. We have substituted the science for the spirituality. Okay. And we think it's as important. Okay. We're not running a spiritual group at all. We're running a science-based, peer-reviewed group. All right. With graduate students now studying our surveys and stuff. Our community is based on concepts from the drug and alcohol. I've said this before, those of peer recovery and harm reduction. I believe that peer recovery is the most underrated therapeutic and behavioral change healing modalities on the planet. Write that down. Peer recovery is one of the most undervalued therapeutic and behavioral change healing modalities on the planet. Now, let's stop talking about sugar for a minute, okay? Cancer survivors, I believe that sugar feeds cancer and causes some cancer. So, and we've had scientists say so much. Lewis Cantley, the Cantley Lab at Cornell University, I made him do sound bites for me. He said, Mike, it's like sugar causes cancer. Whoa, Dr. Cantley, can you please say that again so I can get a recording of it? Michael, sugar causes cancer, okay? Not to mention Alzheimer's, diabetes 2, they're calling Alzheimer's diabetes 3. Gang, my mother died of sugar addiction. She didn't die of Alzheimer's. I lived with her for the last 2 years of her life. I was able to be there. She wouldn't eat real food, gang. She just stopped eating real food. The only thing she wanted was sugar. We had to force her to eat her dinner so she could get to the sugar, okay? And if this is something that's a problem in your family, you're thinking about it, diabetes 2 and stuff. What I was mentioning before, cancer survivors have proven that if you join a recovery group, a survivors group after your chemo or your surgery, it doubles, triples, it skyrockets your success rate and your survival rate, okay? Peer recovery, going in the same direction with people that are just like you, who've had the same experiences with sugar, have tried to explain it to their friends, their family, have not been successful. You're not going to be successful unless you move to a tribe that's their belief, okay? And look, this doesn't have to be forever. I will refund every bit of weight, every bit of acne, every bad A1C test, every bad blood pressure. I will refund it all in 90 days if it doesn't work. You can just go to the 7-Eleven. As I said, you've done hard things before, okay? Think about this. Think about deep down how much you've struggled, how much you've thought about, researched, bought diets, bought pills, bought shakes, gone to Weight Watchers, whatever, and it hasn't worked, okay? It hasn't worked because the diet stuff will never work, not in the current manifestation, until you understand the three concepts that I just laid out here, okay? Now, I like to open this up for question and answer, but before I do, I want to tell you about something that is becoming and has come into a very obvious focus for me. This is, a lot of you probably know by now that this is my life's work. I raised a couple kids sugar-free, watched my mother and my father die of essentially sugar addiction or bad diets, and have a slew of siblings doing the same still today. And I want you to get deep in your soul that, I was retired. I didn't, this was not something that I planned on until it started to grow when I was just helping a few people, okay? And I do genuinely believe that we cannot figure out how to get out of this mess, either as individuals or as a society, until we realize and accept how we got into it. Now, again, I've only got 40 or 50 minutes with you guys to get you to understand how we got in it. I think I've given a strong overview. And, I think that you can see that we're, that I'm dead serious to do this, to help you guys do this. I believe that the obesity epidemic is one of the worst addiction epidemics that we face. I don't know how many of you folks know this, but 78% of the people that died during COVID were overweight and had metabolic issues, okay? Metabolic issues likely caused by too much ultra-processed carbs. And it's the original and underlying, and I believe personally, and I've worked with a lot of recovering people, that this was the gateway drug, the original drug for people that ended up with drug and alcohol issues, okay? And as I said, the most important part of this is not me saying this to you, but the people who have recovered, who have fallen to a right-sized body for them, that they have decided this is where they want to be. They've lost 100 to 200 pounds or more, and the weight loss is not the main thing. They don't brag about the weight loss. They don't rave about the weight loss. They don't rave about the skin clearing up. What they rave about is their brain coming back online. They focus better. They can study better. They remember better. They are not as irritable. They are not as anxious. They don't worry as much. This is because they're beginning to heal their brain reward chemicals, okay? And that this issue that you have all kindly plugged into me for 40 or 50 minutes or an hour with the question and answer truly is a substance use disorder. It's something that, you've got to accept. If you watch any of the summit, I don't think I'm telling you anything new, that this stuff is affecting your brain and how you view, how you present in the world because of the substance use disorder. And I believe with all my heart that people in our community can and will play a huge role in reversing this path. As I mentioned, we do, and we already understand the addiction piece of the puzzle. I've only given you just a little bit of the puzzle today, but the overview of the three sections, that it's not about food, this is about emotional dysregulation, and the peer recovery and community is the answer, is the three-step process that we take you through. Detox, emotional reconfiguring, understanding how to deal with your stress in other ways. Like I said, almost learning how to walk, and moving away from the $78 billion diet industry. Most of the public is totally brainwashed into this ridiculous lie of eating less and exercising more. It's not it's just scientifically not true anymore. And I consider you folks the canaries in the coal mine. You're the folks who are willing to look into this issue, look into this idea that this could be affecting your brain, that the amount that you're pushing, the average person eats 30 to 40 teaspoons a day. A Coca-Cola is 12. That's a 12-ounce Coca-Cola is 12. So imagine if you have any habit at all, your 40, 50, 60 teaspoons of sugar a day is going through your body, coursing through your body. You've seen the big things, 150 pounds a year. Think of those pounds, those 5-pound, 10-pound bags that you have to push that through your body. You've got to urinate it out. You've got to, process it day in and day out. Why this science? It's not a mystery anymore, gang. It's not a mystery. Okay. So if you're with me, I forgot I put this in here, gang. Freaking moderation does not work. In some cases, we need, I call it a scratch test, gang. If you ever heard me talk about this, maybe not, but a scratch test is where, they'll scratch for dust or pollen or ragweed, right? And if it gets irritated, then you got that allergy. Well, our scratch test is 90 days. 90 days of no sugar, no flour, probably no caffeine. And then in the 90th day, you can try a little spelt flour or some sweetener or something that you want to try, but only one at a time. Moderation for some people, definitely everybody who's self-identified in the bottom third as a true sugar addict, likely a great percentage of the harmful users cannot moderate until they heal. You may be able to moderate after you heal. And not only does the brain clear up, the second number one thing before the weight's like fourth or fifth, guys, that people rave about is their hands and their knees stop hurting. Rheumatoid arthritis, remission. Type 2 diabetes, remission. These things happen, and you can see them on our forums. I hope in our short time together that the real issue is one of addiction recovery and behavioral change, moderation, transformation, and not a calories in, calories out, and what the heck do I eat problem. So what I'd like to do now, and I timed this perfectly, well, it was a little over, but I'd like to show you what our community looks like, okay? I'd like you to take a look at what our community is and what we offer. And I want you to follow me over there, okay, on your browser. And Tanner, if you're still on, please put it in the chat. The link, you can just click it and put quitsugarsummit.com/Mike, all right? Just put that into your browser now, or if Tanner's able to put the link in, I'll put a link in, but it won't say that. Or yeah, just put Quit Sugar Summit. Let me do it. I'll do it for you, and I'll put it in the chat. quitsugarsummit.com/Mike. So if you put this into the chat, I'll put it in the chat for you. No direct message. Why do I have a direct message? Everybody. You can just click this if on your laptop or whatever, you click it, you can follow me over there, okay? And I want you to follow along with this. I want to show you how we do this, all right? Okay, so people, okay, there we go. It's in the chat a couple times. You can just click on it, all right? So let me expand this. All right, so let's permanently change your relationship with sugar together, guys. Never alone. You're not going to do it in isolation. It's not going to work. Again, you guys gave me permission to tell you the truth. And I've categorized and surveyed and called on the phone 400 or 500 people when they stopped showing up and they quit. And they quit because they didn't go to the challenge. They didn't finish the job, which is not the 30-day detox. Yes, you're going to get a 30-day detox, but it's the next 11 months. Okay. So we're going to give you 30 days of a sugar detox, and then we're going to give you 12 months of daily coaching. All right. Daily coaching. So let me go through it. You can read some of this. And look, the testimonials they're self-evident now. You ever hear that phrase, like, first they fight you, then they ignore you, then they ridicule, and then it becomes self-evident. This stuff is self-evident. These people who've lost this weight here that you see the pictures of and the testimonials of, they've all gone through this program, okay? They've all worked with us over the time, and many of them started and stopped. It wasn't until they got deep in the community and they built some friendships and some relationships that they were able to succeed, okay? And this is exactly how the program works, all right? And again, you can look at this, you can scroll down and read it, but please follow along with me because it's important that I explain it to you too, okay? So 30 days of video coaching and me coming into your inbox every single day. This thing has the highest completion rate, meaning people watch all 30 videos of any online program ever produced. And this is, documented by one of the largest platforms on the planet, okay? When people start this process, they watch every single video for 30 days. This is unheard of in the world of online education, okay? It's me for 30 straight days, 7 minutes to 20 minutes, plus email coaching that comes with it every day, okay? Because look, it's only pattern recognition, gang. I've seen these things thousands of times, and I can tell what's going to happen to you each day of the detox, all right? And I keep walking you through it, right? And so that's what that first part is, all right? Then, along with that, my coaches have all gone through this program, all right? They've all gone through the process of quitting sugar with us. And then they got trained by me and became coaches. Those people come online twice a day. That's 2 times a day on Zoom, via Zoom. They get online with you and they coach you through it, okay? You can ask any question you want. You can tell them what's going on with your food, with your diet. They walk you through it, okay? That's twice a day, every day of the week, 365 days a year, okay? That's currently, we're going to try and move to 3 before the beginning of the year. That would be 3 times. And, you're in for the entire year, okay? We're not going to be focused on your weight loss. The weight loss will come as a byproduct, right? Okay, after you get done that 30 days on months 2 through 12, right? What we're going to do is you're going to go into another group. This is by your own count, okay? You get through the detox and you don't have to be perfect, okay? You're going to go into another group, and that group is you're still going to have access to those 14 meetings a week, but then I come online, okay, twice a week. You can ask me questions twice a week. You can come to our meeting twice a week, which is kind of our advanced group where we start talking about other books and other professors come on and talk, and one of them is completely question and answer. So it's like getting me every day or every once a week for an hour, okay? And usually I go an hour and a half, depending on how many questions and stuff. So that's another part of it. So you still get the things, okay? And there I am going on and you can read these on the side, gang. I mean, look, I went through the body of this copy. But you can see people that I have to put my glasses on. Sorry, gang. But, you can see 1 year without sugar. You can see the hemoglobin there up in the left-hand side, the A1C going from the red to the green, right? And it tells you how long it took. Over on the other side, 1 year without sugar, just kept doing 100 days, celebrate, blah, blah, blah. No fibromyalgia. No, I can't even pronounce it. Fibromyalgia. And down to my goal weight, 1 year without sugar. It just goes on. And I'm proud to say 220 days. This goes on and on forever, okay? This is really truly about lifetime control. And the code that we have cracked, gang, the code that we have cracked is the second part of the process. Everybody's out there throwing a detox on you and leaving you hanging at the end. They're leaving you so that you're not You don't know what to do. And then the cravings get you and a stressful situation comes up and then you fall back to the sugar. Okay. Again, 90% of people that lose weight. So let's go over it even deeper. Okay. The first 7 days, you don't even have to quit sugar. It's a prep week. We prep your psyche and your house and your family, and we get you to the point where you're ready to quit sugar. Okay. It's time and you're ready to do it. Okay. And then on days 8 through 30, we go through a real detox. Once you're complete with the sugar, you go abstinent, and that's when the rubber meets the road. It gets kind of hard with the withdrawals and the irritability and the hunger and the lethargy and the headaches. That stuff, we're there to help you walk through it. And then, as I said, months 2 through 12, you've got a whole bunch of other stuff. Now, this all happens on Zoom and in our platforms. We've got a brand new platform that's just magic. You don't have to be on Facebook for you folks that don't like it. You can stay in the Facebook group, but it's just more additional support. Yeah, so again, that's me and the one-on-one calls and like that. So you got to think about, look, you got to frame this a little bit like how much are you spending right now? Okay. We've done survey after survey, and the average person spends $85 a week on junk food. Okay. $89 a week on junk food. That's a car payment. That's $385 a month you're spending on cookies, candy, sodas, whatever. And then, this does not even include your co-pays and your health in the future. If you've got family members that are having diabetes and Alzheimer's and everything, do you want that for your kids? You know what I'm saying? So, just think of this as a financial transfer and get it to health and off of the junk, right? So the investment is really simple, $347. You get the whole year with me. It literally comes to 48 cents for me every time I get on. And actually, this is actually wrong because we cut it in half, because I'm on twice now. So it's like 24 cents. It's so inexpensive to have access to me and our team and our community every single day via Zoom, twice a day. It's not really an investment per se. You know what I mean? It's not it's money transfer. It's like, stop spending it on the junk and start spending it on yourself and your, and here's the thing, look, I'm so confident we've done this for so long that I genuinely believe that if this doesn't work for you, I'll give you your money back. I'm interested in building an army. I'm interested in building an army of people who are accepting of and non-judgmental about the construct of addiction and the possibility that they may have a little dependency, maybe they're a harmful user, and then to join this crowd, to join our tribe, and I'll give you your money back if it doesn't work. If you're not completely satisfied with what we give you and the learnings and the information, I'll give you your money back. Okay, 90 days, no questions asked. You can read that if you want. And I've even set it up for payments for people where it's difficult. Now, if you want to do payments, it costs a little more, but only a couple of bucks more. It's a little more expensive to do payments. And it's better to just do the 347 right now and get it, get ready and go. Okay. Again, here's a bunch more testimonials, and you can read them at your own leisure, whatever. Now that you're on the page, check it out. There's testimonials everywhere we go. This person's lost what? I mean, I forget them after a while, gang. I forget all the testimonials. 112 days, 30 pounds, hard for 2 or 3 weeks, but not that hard. She was ready, blah, blah, it goes on. Okay. So, I mean, you've been reading this and you checked it out. You can see the value that we have. It's like $6 grand, $7 grand almost. So choose a payment, grab a hold of get a hold of this rocket ship that we're taking to the moon to help a lot of people. Our goal is to have 24 meetings a day, 7 days a week. And we're well on our way to doing that. So if you guys want to be part of it, we want you to, do this for you. The transformations, the transformations that you see here and 90 days, and I don't know, I can't even hardly read them. 30 days, I was an addict, blah, 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 blah. Like, you can read them a little better here at the top, but we got a little medals for 30, 60, and 90 days, a bunch of pictures. So anyway, gang, I'm going to open up for Q&A. I would ask you to kind of respect the presentation a little bit, and let's not get into the food part, okay? It's just, and again, I know we have it covered. We've got menus and diets and food plans. All of it is included, right? You don't have to worry about that. It's all included, but again, it's not the real issue here, okay? So please, let's talk about, in the Q&A, let's talk about, the real, I don't know why the chat, oh, it says too new. Elizabeth, did you say you don't know if you're addicted until after 30 days? That's a good question. Most people know right now. They can feel it in their gut after hearing me speak. I always say there's a quiz on sugaraddiction.com, but think about it, guys. If you made it to sugaraddiction.com, you don't really need to take the quiz, okay? You already know in your soul, you've struggled with this, and you've tried, and you've worked, and you've tried to restrict, and you've exercised, and you've taken pills and potions and lotions and everything else, and you just haven't been able to do it. So I think what we'll have to do, because it's such a large group, gang, is to throw your question in the chat and I will answer it. I think it'll help, but if you do want to raise your hand, let me see if that function works, but please, you'll have to raise your hand as opposed to all jump in at once, and I will recognize you, and then you can start speaking, okay? Either that or put the Q&A in the chat box, all right? Okay, somebody raised their hand. Sonia, go for it. You're on mute still, so you have to go to the bottom and unmute yourself.
Hey, thank you, Mike. Great presentation. My question is, I'm here in New Zealand, so would your community be compatible for pretty much the opposite time zone from America? And also, oh, thank you. Also, I think stress and tiredness are like my biggest downfalls when it comes to the sugar. Have you got any recommendations, please? Thank you.
Well, here's the thing about stress and sugar. And yes, as far as New Zealand, we have actually a couple coaches in New Zealand, or in Australia anyway. And so the time zones are there, and we, they're like 5 in the morning here, 2 in the morning here. So they're definitely New Zealand and Australian time. So and the stress and the anxiety, those things are actually, some of it's physical, gang. Some of that is actually physical. In other words, because of your lowered dopamine, because of your down-regulated dopamine, that's a physical reaction. And that takes a while to resolve as you get, you get healthy again. All right. So, but that said, we've also been accustomed to, as I mentioned, using sugar as a way to block those feelings. And that as you ebb and flow with the volume of sugar you eat each day, those things go up and they go down. And if you're having a super stressful day, you're eating a lot. And then the next day you can't eat that much again. It's too much. You're gaining weight. And so you cut back, and then you're more anxious. You see the vicious cycle it creates? It's just really wild. So again, half physical and half emotional from using the product so long. Okay, we have Elizabeth. Jump right in there.
Yes, I'm the one who asked about, I don't know if I'm addicted or not. I've quit refined sugar a long time ago, at least a year ago, maybe 2. But I still eat maple syrup. And and I'm starting to like pay attention to what is this, just even like within the last week. But that's one piece. The other piece was I'm traveling from November 1 to November 8 if I can. I mean, there's, you never know what's going to come up. So is this going to impact your program here? Because the first 30 days, is that like set and we're all in a group, or is it
Oh,
individual
not
or
at
what?
all. No, not at all. You can replay it, do anything you need to do once you get in there. And a lot of people, they get in and they start again, they start again, they start again. It's not, yes, I mean, you can do it at any time and plug in at any time. And when you're traveling, it's probably the best time to have this, okay? You can plug into the meetings because navigating restaurants when you're not at home is one of our biggest deals, okay? That's important, very important. So I would actually grab it right now, and then, you'll have a lot of support on your travels. So, and about the maple syrup is straight freaking fructose almost. It's close to agave. It crosses over the 50%, like sugar, the sugar molecule is only half fructose and half glucose, but maple syrup is actually has more fructose in it. And it's more addicting than any kind of sugar, or as addicting as any kind of sugar.
Is that right?
That's right. And it's really a difficult thing to get off of when people don't understand all the facts, All righty. We have Angela up next, and I have the questions in the chat, which I will get to.
Hi. I think part of it was maybe answered, but so work and stress, I have 11-hour days. So two-part question, I guess. Once, like, I know I can't do moderation, so I'm doing 2.5 rolls at work. It's very stressful. The minute I get into those mini snacks, I just buzz through them like a wood chipper. I just like sleeve after sleeve. Like once I take one bite, I am gone for the day.
Yep.
And then is there such a thing as like a sugar hangover the next day?
100%. Many, almost all people, especially people that get any time and then fall back, like if they get 6 months or 3 months and then they have a binge or whatever, they're just, their face is all puffy, they're all blind, they're all, the hangover is very real, very real. And someone like yourself, once you get to the other side, your ability to function in a high level like you're talking about, quite honestly, I seem to attract folks who are high performers, that the people who really, the athlete, the Olympian, we've got a coach that's an ultramarathoner, people that really want to perform well in life. And this is about their brain and not their weight. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, it's annoying at first, like quitting cigarettes. It's kind of the pain to go through that first 30 days. But after that, you calm down so much, your anxiety goes away, and the volume, the continuous repetitive, what you're describing as, you have one, you've heard the phrase, maybe one is too many and 1,000 never enough. You're stronger in your abstinence, you're stronger in that you're not ever, you can't have one. That's the way it is right now. And again, this is not forever. This is, let's get a 90-day test in and see how you do. Look, no one ever goes back at 90 days. I hesitate to tell you that because it sounds astronomically insane, like it can't possibly be. Now, some people do fall back, they slip a little bit once in a while, but they always come back because in 90 days, it truly does show your body, your soul, your brain, what can be, how well you can perform and function. So I'd say give it a try and, let us do our magic, because I know that we can help, and you are a classic client. So Vicky's up next. I'm doing the folks that are raising their hand, and I will get to you guys who are in the chat. Go ahead, Vicky. Vicky, you've got to unmute yourself if you're not. It's down on the lower bar of the thing if you're on your computer. I don't know, on the phone it's a little different. All right, while you find that, Vicky, if you find the unmute button, Dana says that she's addicted and has tried to quit, but don't know how. That's what we're here for. And she also says, I literally only like sweet food. Anything else makes me nauseous. You know, I'd like to see you raise your hand, Dana, and maybe put you on the hot seat if you're willing, see what kind of weight you have to lose, how long you've been doing this. But there are a lot of my clients who are just like you, who were raised on sugar, and that's what they use all the time. And they're just got this consistent sugar drip going. And I get it. And we have lots of people just like you, and we understand. Maureen asked, what about being addicted to being full, stuffed, eating more than nutritionally required? Okay, Maureen, this is an excellent question. And I want everybody to listen up, because our program does not weigh and measure. Let me repeat that. A lot of programs out there have people weigh and measure for this exact reason. And where this came from is back as we evolved, there's stretch receptors in your stomach. And we've learned to hack the stress receptors, both with dopamine, serotonin, you know, with a push of substance-based dopamine, and with overeating. But in our case, about 85% of the people's overeating, it's called volume eating, is completely dissipated. It goes away completely 85% of the time after they go abstinent from flour and sugar, okay? But a full 10 to 15% still overeat healthy food and hack that. And I was that guy for 10 years. Stretched receptors, they hacked the full stomach thing. Because, you know, back in the day, we'd get food one day and wouldn't have food for 2 or 3. So we need to eat a bunch of it to last us for 2 or 3 days. And so this is a very normal thing, but, you know, our program definitely addresses it. So jump in and you'll hear a lot of people talking about that. Well, at least 10 or 15% of people talk. How do you handle a household spouse who doesn't want to quit and they say, and they are in charge of dinner that night? Okay, so this is, I'd say 80% of our folks, at least, maybe 90, but at least 80, 70, 80% of our folks, where one spouse is not on board. Okay, they're not on board to this deal. And we have workarounds for that, and we have ways to deal with it, and we delve into the deeper emotions. You know, our meetings are really not about a question and answer and get facts. They're about you having time to express what's going on, to build true friendships, to build true long-term relationships, so that you can help. And look, you know, the airlines say, put your own oxygen mask on first, right? You can't help that person or any of your kids or any of your relatives until you get this done. And that problem, that issue, Michelle, is very, very common within our group, and we handle it. So don't let that stop you, please. And I understand how hard it is. Okay, Gail, does this include being free of artificial sweeteners, including stevia? I'm off all sugar except stevia in my coffee, but I noticed cups of coffee increasing in Grenfell. And I need to let this item go. Okay, so yes, see, what we call ourselves, gang, our coaches and myself, are loving mirrors. And loving mirrors simply means you guys have already done the research. You don't need to listen to me. What you need is the community and the support. And what you're describing here is, you know the answer. Yes, you have to move away from sweet tastes. In 90 days, peppers will taste sweet, carrots will taste sweet, macadamia nuts will taste like candy. You will have literally redone your taste buds, which happens every 7 or 8, 10 days, I forget. But you will have redone your taste buds and you will not need the sweet. And, you know, of course your coffee's coming up because you are, you know, you needed a replacement for the dopamine hit. You are physically, emotionally, manually manipulating your brain reward chemicals with these substances. And I want to tell you, caffeine is harder to get off of than sugar. Genuinely, any real habit, it's harder to get off than sugar. So hope that helps. But we in our program try and get you at least 90 days sweet free. And when I say sweet, I'm not talking about, you know, a few berries, a few raspberries, whatever to help you through. I'm talking about, you know, stevia and monk fruit and all that kind of stuff, and sugar. Dana also asks, I don't have to lose weight. I had breast cancer 5 years ago, and I know sugar is bad for me. I get migraines when I feed them sugar. And then I feed them with sugar. You know, look, I haven't had a headache in 30 some odd years, 33 years, and I used to get the worst ones. And I don't, you know, we got some grad students in trying to figure out like the exact numbers, but almost all migraines go away when people quit sugar. Almost all. Okay. People stop with the migraines because look, the brain scan says your brain is shrinking, right? It's literally sugar is shrinking your brain. So you don't want to be doing the sugar. You've got to get off the sugar to stop the migraine. So you can't, you're just in a vicious loop, Angela, or you're Dana, you're in a vicious loop. Okay, Angela, flours, Ezekiel bread, true difference, whole grain flours. And it does it still affect your sugar response. So here's the thing, gang, it's happening, okay? And we're very accepting and very loving and very gentle as we ease you through the 30-day detox away from all of these questions. Remember when I asked you that let's focus on what's going on with you emotionally, mentally, and it's impossible almost, and you're not alone. Everybody comes in, does the same thing. You know, they're looking for what I call wiggle room. They're looking for wiggle room. They're looking to look, well, can I do this? Can I do that? You know, like a kid asking for the cookie for the 5th time, asking a different way, and a different way, and a different way. You know, Ezekiel bread, if you would put on a continuous glucose monitor, and you can get one from nutrisense.io and put CGM guy in the thing, they'll give you one. No, it's expensive for a month, but just go a month and you can see on your phone exactly what happens when you eat Ezekiel bread. It'll jack your glucose response, okay? And so the answer is no, you can't for a time. Now, if metabolically you come back to health, and only 12% of the whole world population of the United States for sure is metabolically healthy, meaning 88% of people have some type of metabolic dysfunction, likely caused by ultra-processed carbs and sugar. So, you know, give it a try. We can refund your money if you don't want to continue, but please give 90 days a try, okay? That was awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you, Gail. Very kind of you to say. Donna wants to know, guys, I refuse to wear bifocal, so that's why I keep doing this. I'm quitting drinking alcohol 4 months ago, and now quitting sugar is the next on my list, but thought of never eating chocolate again is devastating. Well, B. Hughes, you know, if you're getting help with that, you know the phrase one day at a time. We are not talking about forever here. We're talking about one day with no sugar, then 2 days without no sugar. And then if you get to the 90, if you get to the 120, if you get to your goal weight, you decide if you want to try it. You decide. Don't make that judgment today, and don't project into the future. One of the things I find about sugar, not having sugar, is you don't project backwards and worry, and you don't project forward and worry. It's weird. It gives you this kind of in the moment feeling, because you're not manually manipulating your dopamine and stuff. So anyway, please give it a try. I would just venture to guess that 20% of the people in our group are recovering alcoholics and drug addicts who could not quit sugar. They knew the addiction piece. They still couldn't quit sugar. They had to, you know, get a new tribe, okay? We all want to hear good news about our bad habits. Well, I can tell you that these thousands of people here with all these pictures and all of these testimonials, we have thousands of them, and we know that these bad habits are hard. Patricia, somebody needs to be muted, please, if you would. My husband is very supportive, but I still need to talk with him about this. Thank you, Mike. Very informative. I'm an addict. I've been 1.5 years off alcohol. Congratulations, Patricia. And this idea that we need to talk to our husband is, I know it's important in the relationship, but this is for you, okay? Stand up for yourself, and this is for you. Lewis, I don't need to lose weight, but I do have a sugar addiction. For a couple of years, I've been controlling this by eating lots of fruit. Do I need to take your program? You know, the fruit thing, I get a lot of pushback on, Lewis. I really do. Fruit, you have to, let me explain it. We got a few more minutes and I'll stay on with you. But the fruit thing is important simply because fruit today is not the fruit that 10 million years of evolution gave to our body. Okay, for 300 years, we've hybridized fruit for what? For sweetness, for fructose, which is the offending molecule. And the fructose molecule is the same in maple syrup, agave syrup. It's the same as it is in sugar. Fructose molecule doesn't change. And so the fruit, too much fruit will keep the cravings alive, okay? And I like the way that you put controlling this in my life decades ago. I actually did the same thing, Lewis. I ate a lot of fruit to to mitigate my withdrawals from sugar and flour. But I came to know that when I quit sugar and flour, or grains, and fruit, my adult acne cleared up, my bleeding gums cleared up, a lot of stuff cleared up. And I knew I wasn't eating sugar, so I knew it had to be the grains and the fruit. So yes, fruit will slow down most detoxes and keep the cravings light. Worst thing you want, gang. Who the heck wants to be off this stuff if you're still craving it all the time, So controlling is a good word. So yeah, I would jump in, Lewis, and we would love to have, or Lois, maybe, sorry. I'm wondering about natural sugar there. I just answered that, Donna. There you go. Can you inherit this addiction tendency? Alcoholic parent. Great question, Angela. So here's the thing. It's not necessarily, there is some science that says there is addictive tendencies, but moreover, it's really what you grew up with, what your parents ate and fed you and helped manage your emotions, right? This is not, and that said, people with addictive backgrounds have a more difficult time with this because, as I said, I've been on probably 100 podcasts and 50 of them were sober podcasts, people, doing a sober sobriety podcast. A full half, 25% of those folks said to me, Mike, I had you on because I can't quit sugar. Okay. So the same thing here, when your family kind of grows up with this coping mechanism, you inherit those coping mechanisms. And that could be if your parents are alcoholic, you might say, oh, they drank, I'll never do that, but you may turn to sugar. We see that a lot. Okay. When we dive into their history, on our one-on-one coaching stuff, we dive into their history and we find that they have, alcohol in their background, or even an alcoholic family would create a chaotic environment for a child, and the child would find that sugar soothed them, right? Sugar would soothe how they feel. And so, it's more of a familial inheritance, a cultural inheritance than it is a, physical brain inheritance. Joanne, give me an example of what breakfast, there you go, see? Breakfast meals might look like after quitting sugar. The variety is endless. Our vegetarian friends need to eat the grains and a little bit more fruit and beans and stuff. I find in the long run, some people have to give that up. So, they have to get off of the oats and the brown rice eventually. Maybe not. Some people, like we have vegetarians that do well with us for a while. But I would lean more towards healthy fats, avocados, olives, bacon, eggs, that kind of stuff for breakfast and lunch. More greens and that kind of stuff, and fish or chicken or fatty. Fat is really good in satiating the sugar feelings, the sugar withdrawals and stuff. ribeye, steak, salmon, that kind of stuff, if you're a meat eater. But any diet would work. We are focused on you understanding this, the dopamine, and you understanding the addiction piece of the puzzle. Thanks, Mike. Oh, it's Lewis, not Lois. Okay, cool, Lewis. We don't have too many guys, Lewis, man. Jump in. I think you'd be a trailblazer in all this. I mean, it would have been great if I was 20 years old and it was all women. I don't know what the 8 is that people are putting in there. Kind of like it. MK88888. That's interesting in the chat. All right, gang. Almost another extra half hour here. Any last questions, burning desires? What do I drink besides water? Don't drink coffee, like Coke, and I need to stop. You got to do water for a little bit. You know, part of this, gang, and I don't want to be harsh on you guys, but this is adulting. You've done hard things in your life. If you can't, for your health, for your kids, for your family, give this a try for 90 days. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, this is a real serious issue. The part that's hard for me to transmute from my brain into your brain is conversations with hundreds and forums and Zoom meetings with tens of thousands at this point, Zoom meetings with tens of thousands of people that have told these stories over and over and over again about the pain and the inability to quit and the diseases that it causes. If you've spent now with me an hour and a half on your Thursday night, likely you've already done a lot of this research, and I'm not telling you anything new. All I'm offering you is a way out and your money back if it doesn't work. Okay. What if someone has a cat? Oh, that's the cat hitting the thing. Yeah, that's probably true. And I'm a water freak, gang. There's a book out there. I'll find the name of it, but I've got I've got a water bar over there with, all kind of waters from all over the world. You need calcium and magnesium. You are so depleted in calcium and magnesium that the water, the good water and spring water from glass actually helps you, because the bioavailability of supplements is almost nil, and then the food is the soil is depleted, so you're not getting those important magnesium and calcium nutrients to get you off the sugar, because I think it's like 5 molecules of magnesium needed to detox 1 of sugar. It's crazy. And we are, and calcium and magnesium don't play together well when you use them as supplements. You got to be really careful. 90 days starts anytime you want, Maureen. Just plug in. Our system is ongoing. The meetings are every day. Someone will jump right in the forum and welcome you. And, we'll get a whole this download of videos and stuff. Our core videos, which is 4 videos of essentially what I told you in 3 different things today. These are like an hour and a half long with question and answer at the end on your food, on your emotions, on your family and that kind of stuff, and then eating out. So there's 4, like 10 hours of video. You'll get a lot. So you can start anytime, Maureen. Spring water from a natural sources bottle is good. That's what mineral water is, Angela. Yes. Can we register in 4 weeks from now? Finance issues, better place to do the one-time payment. I don't know, to be honest, Angela. I don't know how long we're going to keep this up. We have reduced this from 997 so that we can keep growing the tribe, so we can put and help more people, because now we have the coaches every day have taken a little weight off of me. So I don't know. Maybe try the payment plan, Angela. Thanks again. Got to go. Okay. I think that's right. We're about half hour extra. Bye-bye, Patricia. Gang, thank you. If this was helpful, throw a quick thanks in there. I want to thank you guys for spending so much time with me. Hopefully you're jumping over to the page here that's on the screen at, I think it's, I'll put it up again. I'll put a new one. Yeah, there it is. /Mike. I'll leave it up for a minute. You guys can just click on it. And if you're on your computer, it'll bring you over to that page again. and you will have it to check out. Okay, gang? Guys, love you. Take care. We will talk to you real soon. Bye for now. And there's everybody saying goodbye. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love it. You guys are the best. Thank you for being here. All right, gang, take care. I'm going to stop the recording and we will see you soon. And if you want to re-listen to the recording, watch your email and we'll send it out.